Are you ready to heal? And are you ready to evolve? My name is Eva Payne, and it is an honor and a privilege to be here with you for a few minutes while I talk about why I do what I do, why I host these retreats, how I started them, why I started them, and what my hope, I guess, or vision is for you and for all those who attend. First, I am many things, one of which is a mom. I have 6 children. My oldest is in her 20s and 5 boys that follow down to twin 12-year-olds as of 2023. And I love what I get to do, and that is to be their mom. And I am divorced, and that has been a challenge, and it has also provided an opportunity. And I think that's one of the gifts of this life, is that we get to have perspective and look at things through various lenses. So when I was going through my, call it dark night of the soul, a divorce back in 2015, I didn't know how I was going to get through. I didn't know who I was anymore. I was Mormon for 16 years. I chose in my 20s, and it served me really well. And my ex-husband, my kiddo's dad, and he and I never fought in our marriage, hardly ever, but there were some really big things that we weren't willing to look at, or able to look at, I should say. And as I went through this dark night of the soul, I kept saying to my therapist, I've lost my flow. I've lost my flow. I went on anti-anxiety medication, depression, depression, antidepressants, I guess is the right way of saying it. And I hated the way that it made me feel. I'm not someone who takes really any medications. And so I thought, I've got to get off this. And what's the fastest way back? And I found these various healing modalities: cold plunge, breath work, Reiki, mindfulness. A huge piece was just mindfulness, having a perspective, seeing my marriage through a different lens, instead of seeing it as woe is me and I'm a victim, seeing it as, what lesson is in this for me to learn, and how can I evolve through this? And what's the fastest way for me to get back to my wholeness? Because I've got a lot of kiddos who are counting on me to show up wholeheartedly. And so I went on this path, and psychedelics kept coming up even at that time, but I couldn't look at it yet because I was so far away from that world, being in this religious bubble, I guess, for a long time. And just even prior to that, I never did anything as a kid. I didn't experiment. I drank alcohol for like a year and a half of my life in my early 20s, and that was it. So for me to step into a realm where Earth's medicine was even a possibility, took a lot of shifting and changing and opening my mind to what's possible. What is the fastest road to healing for a human, so that we can get to building better systems that really evolve humanity? When I look out into the world and I see the hot mess that is our planet, I think, what how do we get out of this? And it starts with us. It starts with our own healing. It starts with us coming home to ourselves, to love, and to making the most loving next choice that you can make for yourself. And so, with that on my journey, prior to getting divorced and all of that part of my life, I started a summer camp for kids impacted by HIV and AIDS. And I ran that for over 20 years, that nonprofit. And so I learned a lot in the power of vulnerability. When these kiddos would come to camp and share their stories openly and honestly, they were able to be themselves, from, for some, the first time ever, and then create and explore from that place. And it was a very powerful, magical experience. And so as COVID came on, and I knew I would need to transition out of one thing and into something else. And I'd already been looking, I'd already written these books on flow and spent 5 years coaching people around these ideas on and off and exploring them myself. And what I would find, that as I would work with people around these ideas and concepts, they couldn't shift. And I thought, how do therapists do it? How do they spend years talking about the same things over and over and over again, seeing this very little movement in people's lives? Like, what do we need? Why does everything in nature have rhyme and reason? What's wrong with us? How do we get there, wherever there is? And that's when psilocybin just kept coming up into my awareness, much like how HIV and AIDS came up into my awareness. I didn't particularly know anyone impacted by HIV and AIDS when I decided to start this camp. I didn't have a close relationship with anyone or a family member. I just felt this call to fill a need that I knew I could do because I grew up going to camps. And so when I saw psilocybin over and over, I thought, I don't even know the first thing about this, but this is what was coming up. So I started to learn. I listened to just about every podcast out there. I took classes. I interviewed people. I did as much as I could learning without actually taking someone through a journey. And I called my sister and said, I think I need to be a medicine woman, because I heard a podcast of a woman who takes people through these journeys and the transformation that it has. And it just landed on me in a way, much like how the HIV and AIDS did. When I would hear someone talking about it, it just grabbed my attention. And so with that, I took my sister on a journey. And on the plane ride home from Oregon to Southern California, where I live, the idea for these retreats popped in, and that was the summer of 2021. So I took a few months to plan and promote and put it out there in the world to see who might even want to come. Because for me, putting together a retreat was, I could do that in a snap of a finger. That would be nothing. I'm used to 100 kids and 50 staff. What's 6 people-ish in a house, and stacking these healing modalities that really helped me. And then including into that an earth medicine that has literally thousands of studies that prove to heal the brain and help humanity evolve. I mean, we see it out there in the research. Take any brain injury. I challenge you to go or any brain challenge, any mental illness, and pair it with psilocybin and see if someone isn't doing research out there right now on it. And it's amazing. It's beautiful. It's the earth saying, here, humans, do you want to heal? You can't get addicted. You can't take too much. You're not going to want to take this journey over and over again. Just when you feel called or ready to cleanse and clear the stuff that we're holding on to, the identities, the stories, the ruminating mind. How do we clear that out? And that's what psilocybin is. It's the Zamboni machine for the mind, for those patterns that we have created. And when you stack it with these other modalities that we have been so incredibly intentional over the last year and a half, we've hosted 21 retreats. That first retreat in January of 2022 was everything. And from there, I just keep asking, how do I make it better? How do I make it better? How do I make it better? How do I serve these people? And I'm still asking that question, and I'm still learning. There's a lot still to learn, but we've really figured something out here. And the testimonies speak for themselves. If you go onto my website, flowliferetreat.com, and go onto the Their Words tab, you'll see the podcast and listen to them and read the testimonies of the individuals who have come, many of them who are willing to share. And when I ask for a testimonial, I think maybe they'll give me a line or two, and it ends up being a paragraph about how this medicine, and in a set and setting like a retreat that we host, can be really supportive into transforming you into the person you've always been. I believe that we come here whole, and then this world, this society, this story that we have created around what it looks like to be a human starts to pile up, pile up, pile up. And the medicine helps to break it down, break it down, break it down. And once we come home to that wholeness, what we are able to create, how we are able to see and perceive the world is so very different from the fear and the shame and the guilt and the chaos. And I believe that this is a tool, maybe not for everyone, but it is a tool to come home to our wholeness. And if you feel the call, I invite you to step towards it. Doesn't mean you have to come to the retreat or any retreat. Doesn't even mean you have to say yes to the medicine. Just start to explore. Just have an open mind and have an open heart. Do a little research, watch a few videos, see what starts to come up. The synchronicities will start to happen. You'll start to see things and experience things that feel like, what? 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 I'm telling you, there is magic out there to be experienced. And there's a lot more to this human existence than we are aware of at this time. And we're just opening the door with psilocybin. I invite you in. Have a great day. Thanks for the consideration. Feel free to reach out. flowliferetreat.com is the best place to find me. Also Instagram, Miss Eva Payne, MS Eva Payne. Have a great day. Namaste.